What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Spaniard career mode in MotoGP 20. And the situation right now in the championship is actually pretty interesting. Okay, we have a 31-point lead, which on paper is pretty good. Of course, Motegi is a track that I really like. I've been playing on this track for almost as long as I've been alive, essentially. So I have a lot of experience on it. I'm very confident, and I've pretty much always been pretty good at it. Regardless of what game I've played, whether it's Gran Turismo, whether it's all the MotoGP games, etc. So, I'm feeling confident, but as you can see right now, if you look at the qualifying, Masià is in second, and Bubba is way back there. I mean, we did not do well in qualifying, got 17th, where a solid 2 seconds slower than Masià. So, not looking good, definitely not looking good from that point of view, and let's just say that if we don't get a good result here, meanwhile, holy shit, we crashed in the warm-up. Look at this shit, man. How's that even possible? I think I've seen this before on the Facebook group, but is this something that happens in Motegi every time? Let me know in the comments if you guys know, because alright, whatever. That's a great start to the race weekend. That's exactly what we needed, right? A nice little crash in the warm-up lap. We get a pretty decent start. One from 17th. You know, not the fastest start, but still better than what we usually get. Going through the first turn, trying to keep it a little bit safe, not cutting it in too tight, because that's a good way to crash out. There we go. We almost crash out anyway. Yamanaka crashes. So we're able to get through the first turn relatively unscathed. I'm not going to say perfectly, but, you know, we did all right going through there. On to turn 2, can we actually keep it alive? Now, the important thing for me right now isn't necessarily to win this race as we crash out onto maybe by accident, going wide in the dirt, have to survive. The important thing for me right now is just race my own race and not crash out and cost us points, essentially. Like, I'm being a bit aggressive here, which has been a problem lately, trying to be too aggressive, trying to, just trying to win any way I can. And that has cost us because, this game isn't like the last one where, it's a lot harder to crash in the previous games. And this one is definitely a lot more realistic from that point of view. They do punish you for being a bit more aggressive. So the important thing right now is just race our race, try to get ourselves as close as possible to Masià. So that's the important thing. Now, I will say a couple things. Like, this game, like, I've been a lot better at most tracks than I have been in previous games in this game, but Motegi for some reason is one that I've really been having a hard time with. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, it just feels like it's a bit more difficult for me. Now, it could also be the fact that, like, it's towards the end of the championship, pressure is starting to mount a little bit, so I was a bit nervous because of that. Not really nervous, but you know what I mean, like a bit, like realizing that I need to get good performances every weekend to guarantee winning Moto3, moving up to Moto2. So that might be a thing. That might be a case. Oh, wow. Almost crashed out. I think it's Ogura. Made a huge mistake. Almost crashed. No, sorry. Fernandez almost crashed him and us out. That would have been brutal for both of us. But I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, I haven't been able to get anything going on this track in this game, and it's just kind of weird to me. I'm sure as time goes on, I'll get better at it, as I'm going to get better with the entire game, as I'm going to get better with Moto2, etc. Once we eventually get up there too, and of course MotoGP one day. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me because I'm usually really good at Motegi, and this game I've been really struggling. Like, this early part of the track I'm actually alright at. I would say this is one of the parts where I'm at my best on the track. But this turn right here, like, it's one that I've never really had issues with, but for some reason, no, sorry. Is it this one? Yeah, it's right here where you go into the bridge. Yeah, this is where, I don't know, like, that time I actually went through it pretty well. Maybe not quite as fast as I would have liked, but I didn't really do it terribly. And for some reason, just every single lap, especially like in qualifying, I would completely blow that one and make some huge mistakes. And I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me because I feel like that's one of the spots that I was usually pretty good at. I'd have to go and watch some old replays of like Gran Turismo 4 or something like that, But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I've usually been pretty confident there. That turn is one that kind of gets me a little bit. Like, I ran out of it a little bit wider than I would have liked, but it is what it is. And then coming through this, then the other hairpin. I mean, there's just nothing but hairpins on Motegi, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it's not my favorite track, but it is one that I like. It's probably just because, like I said, I've done it so many times that I do like it, but it's definitely a difficult track to get used to in this game right here. Now this, if you get this turn right, you're gonna come out of it well. Of course, we run it a little bit too wide, go through it a little bit too hot. And right here, what I've learned is I go through the corner and then I let off right there. Let off a little bit too late there, trying to be a bit too hot, but came out of it actually pretty well. It's maybe not ideal, but came out of it pretty decently, I would say. Let's see, 202.8. We got a 204.2, so we're way off the pace of Suzuki, which isn't really surprising. Like I said, 205 has pretty much been our average lap time over the weekend. So I'm not really expecting to be able to keep up with the front guys, just considering, like, you know, in a race I do perform better usually, but at the same time, I am realistic, and I do realize that if you aren't able to keep the pace that some of the front runners are keeping, then you're not really going to be able to keep up with them in the long run. So let's see what we can do. At least try to get up to Mino, because if we can at least get 6th, you know, I would like a top 5. Like, realistically, top 5 is, I would say, is consistency. Like, something I've always been a fan of is, not really a fan of, but something I've always said. You know, it's like when Nicky Hayden won the championship in 2006. I mean, yes, it was kind of a strange circumstances. We almost crashed it in the dirt for no reason. Like, yes, it was a weird circumstance because, of course, Valentino Rossi had a nightmare of a season in terms of, you know, having a lot of technical issues, not a lot of things that weren't necessarily his fault. But, and yes, Nicky didn't really win any race. I think he won Laguna Seca and that's it. Maybe he won 2 races that year, whatever it was. But the important thing is consistency. Like, he won that championship because he was pretty much every single weekend on the podium. So I've always tried to implement that to my playing in the MotoGP series. Is like, even if I don't win the race, as long as I'm right there at the front, I'm gonna keep myself in with a chance of winning the title. Now, if you're in a championship like, you know, like MotoGP, where you have Marc Marquez, who week in, week out is pretty much winning every time, then yes, consistency isn't gonna matter because he's constantly winning, and it makes it impossible. As we have a nice little exchange there with I don't remember who exactly that was, but still a nice little exchange. But yeah, so like I've always kind of just tried to implement that into my game, like try to race my race, and just try to do what I do. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, in the MotoGP 19 portion of this series, I was definitely not racing like that. I was extremely aggressive, extremely you know, dirty, and I was just, you know, not doing exactly what I would try to do. Like, I was trying to win every race, whether I meant win it or bin it, or, you know, essentially just doing whatever I can, and ended up making some mistakes or something like that. So it was yeah, it wasn't my typical way of playing, and I'm definitely right now trying to get back to that, because we started off the season so well, and I believe, and I predicted this early on in the season, that we were going to have a good first half of the season and then start to struggle a little bit more in the second half, because the first half is where we have all the classic European tracks and all the tracks that I really, really love, whereas in the second half we got a lot of the Asian tracks, which aren't really my cup of tea. We have a lot of the newer tracks too, so it was always going to be a little bit more difficult. And I feel like once I start getting under pressure, once I start watching my lead become smaller and smaller and smaller, as we get a 0.2 penalty, really coming out of the turn poorly, giving them a great opportunity to get back up on our ass. But I was just saying, like, as I continue to struggle, I get more and more aggressive and make more and more mistakes, and it does cost me in the long run. So that's something I'm trying to work on. I have been getting some advice from a lot of you guys in the Facebook group, also from my dad, who's a former racer, so he has a bit more of a hands-on experience, of course, than I do. He knows a lot more about the sport. He probably forgot more about the sport than I have ever known. So I always do take his recommendations and his advice with a bit more, with a bit more importance than some other advice I get. Let's just put it that way. And I've been trying to implement that, and like I think that kind of shows in this video. Like, yes, we've bumped into a few people here or there, but for the most part, I would say I've been pretty clean, and I've been trying to just do what I do, and understanding that, at this point, if we can maintain 7th and not get passed by Vietti, and that's a decent result considering we qualified 17th. We gained 10 positions. I've gotten a few points, which isn't bad. It looks like Masià's not going to win the race. I mean, he's second, so still getting a lot of points over us, but you know, that's not the end of the world. And of course, right as I say that, Masià overtakes Suzuki for first position. I mean, hopefully Suzuki can slow him down a little bit and maybe even beat him, but Masià, you know how he is, man. Like in the second half of the season, he's been really turning it up, and he's been a monster. Meanwhile, Vietti is really close to us. He's a half a second behind us, so if we make a mistake or two, he could be on us. But look at this, man. We're getting close. It feels like we're getting... Oh, made a huge mistake there. Got on the gas too early, and it really cost us because I felt like we could have potentially been able to get up to them, but not able to. There, we have to let Vietti go by because if we don't, he's going to crash out, and more than likely we will too. So just have to do what we do and hopefully finish over 2/10 above him, because that would be... If we lose to him due to a penalty that I believe is bullshit, then that would be just an extra layer of torture for us. And it looks like they're going to be a little bit too far, man. That's a shame, because if we hadn't made that mistake, who knows? Maybe we could have been able to get up to him and actually battle with him at least. But made that mistake, slid out, risked the high side, and blew it, to be honest. But it is what it is. We have 0.06 fuel left. So we're running out of fuel. Vietti has gotten past us. We have to turn power down because we can't afford running out of fuel. Can we get past Vietti? We're going to try to dive in under him. We're going to run it wide, way too wide. I went for it, guys. Always have to go for it. That could cost us because 9th position is right there now. Oh, fuck. Come on, come on. Don't worry about Vietti. Just, horrible, horrible through that turn. Running it wide. We might not be 2/10. I don't think we're 2/10 above, especially because he's gaining on it because we had a horrible drive. I believe we finished 9th, guys. I believe we finished 9th. There's no way he was 2/10 behind us. There you go. He was a 10th behind us, so it cost us badly. That's not a minor setback. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Yeah, he gained like 18 points on us or something like that. No, maybe not 18, but he gained a lot. I think we were what, 31. So yeah, he gained quite a bit. 13 points going into the end of the season. That's not good. I mean, we obviously, it's ours to lose. But at the same time, this just made things a lot more difficult. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I forgot to record the replay. So I apologize for that. But like between the crash in the warm-up lap and a disastrous final lap, that was definitely not an ideal weekend. But I hope you guys still enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and as always, please let me know if you have any tips in the comment section down below. I'm always happy to get any tips and tricks and any kind of recommendations for settings and stuff like that. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.